Hi, my name is Darren Gleeman. I am the managing partner of MBO Ventures, and today I'm going to answer the question, what is an ESOP? Simply, forgetting about all the jargon, an ESOP is just another way to sell your company. You can sell your company to a private equity firm, you can sell your company to a strategic buyer, or you can sell to your employees via this ESOP structure. That's it. It's just another way to sell your company. But when you sell to your company, when you sell your company to your employees, you get significant amount of tax subsidies and tax incentives from the government because they want you to sell to your employees. What I like to do is I like to go through an example, right? A head-to-head example. If you sell your company to a private equity shop, or if you sell your company to your employee base. So let's just do it. And let's just go for very large numbers. I think it makes it easier to use the number of 100. Like 100, we can all think 100. So let's say in this example, somewhere, let's say it doesn't matter, anywhere in the country, $20 million in net income is your company. It's a lot of money, right? And the value of your company is 20 times 5, which is $100 million. And you're going to sell it for $100 million. When you sell your company to private equity for $100 million, you have to pay capital gains tax. Everyone does. Very difficult to get around that. So on average throughout the country, it's about 30%. So on a $100 million sale, you have to pay $30 million in capital gains tax. When you sell that same company to your employees via this ESOP structure, the government allows you to defer those capital gains. And if you structure correctly, which of course we do for you, you will pay zero capital gains tax forever. Number two, how do the employees afford to buy this company for $100 million? They don't have any money. Well, how does a private equity firm buy your company for $100 million? Well, here's the secret. Private equity firms are not giving you $100 million. What they do is, plain vanilla, out of their own funds money, they'll pay you, let's say, $20 million. Then what they're going to do is they're going to borrow off of your company, off of your assets or your cash flow. So if you're making $20 million a year in your company, they're going to take a loan out off of your cash flow from, let's say, JP Morgan. So they will go out and borrow $60 million, which will then go to you. Okay, so $20 million from the fund, $60 million that they're borrowing. That used to be called a leveraged buyout. Now we call it private equity. All right, that's $80 million that goes to you. The last $20 million is called an earnout. And that means as long as you reach the levels that you told them you were going to reach in your negotiations, then you'll get that last $20 million. If you don't reach those levels, you're not going to get that $20 million. With an ESOP, it's structured very similarly, okay, but there's no equity. With an ESOP, that $60 million that you're borrowing from JP Morgan, we're going to borrow the same thing, but instead of having a third party come in and lever up your company to borrow the $60 million, the company is going to borrow the $60 million on its own. So the company borrows $60 million, and that goes to you, the owner, $60 million. But it's a $100 million deal. The other $40 million, right? What is that other $40 million? The other $40 million you're going to get is called a seller note. A seller note is an IOU from the company back to you. And that's how you will be made whole for that $100 million. Now you may say to yourself, in an ESOP transaction, do I really want a seller note? The answer is yes, you really do want that seller note. And here's why. The seller note, by definition, is more risky than that $60 million senior lender note from JP Morgan that we just talked about. The reason why it's more risky is if the company goes under, JP Morgan will take the company. That seller note is subordinate, so it doesn't have any rights really to take back that company. Well, it has the leftover rights. So by definition, it's more risky. If it's more risky, well, you as the owner for that seller note deserve a higher interest rate. So let's just say the market interest rate for that seller note is, let's say it's 15%. Putting 15% interest on the company, it's kind of harsh. It's your baby. You may not want to do that. So in lieu of that 15%, right, we're going to say, look, you're going to get 5%. Instead of 15, you're going to get 5%. But I just said you deserve 15, okay? Well, instead of that 10% difference, right, 15 minus 5, instead of that 10% difference, you're going to get these things called warrants. What is a warrant? A warrant is very similar to a stock option. A warrant gives you the right to buy back stock in your company in the future. All right. And when you buy back these warrants, there's a certain price, a predetermined price to buy back a piece of your company. And let's just say it's a $100 million company and you get warrants to buy back, let's just make it 20% of the company. All right. So if it's 20% of the company, it's a $100 million company, the strike price of those warrants might be around $5 million. And the time frame is about 15 years. So that means that any time in the next 15 years, you hand in those warrants, you hand in that $5 million, and you get back the chunk of your company, 20% of the company. That's pretty good, right? So you now get an exit at the beginning, which you're not paying any capital gains tax, and then you have these warrants for a future exit riding along with the employees. So the employees and you now are completely riding together. The next thing with an ESOP, right, another benefit with an ESOP, is if you sell 100% of the company, the company itself runs completely tax-free. The company pays 0 federal tax and 0 state tax forever. That's a pretty good deal, right? Paying 0 tax. Another benefit, right? Remember I said to you the government subsidizes the purchase of the company? $100 million company you sell for $100 million. The government allows you as the owner to take a $100 million deduction. You can take a deduction for the entire purchase price of the company. So that is what an ESOP is all about, and those are the basic benefits of an ESOP.